Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Tamini Prabhupada Chaitanya Prakasha Vitirja Pracharang Girvan Sharu Bhagat Pate Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhisesa Sunyavadi Pasyacha Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaurakinda Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanan Gyana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Gurung Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Si Bisakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaniswari Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we still continue our topic on Vaishnava etiquette. And now we're going to speak about Vaishnava aparads. Aparad means offenses, and we say aparadha. That means no radha. Aparadha. That means we'll not be able to get the mercy from Srimati Radharani if we commit offenses, especially Vaishnava Parad. So there's a letter here from Srila Prabhupada to Shivananda Prabhu. He's the one who went to Germany and opened a temple, opened a center in Germany. June 15, 1969, Prabhupada writes, in Krishna consciousness, every man is so important because all of the activities of a devotee of Lord Krishna is beneficial to all living entities. Who is this Vaishnava devotee? Prabhupada also, he quoted very often saying that he who says that he is my devotee, that he is a devotee of Lord Krishna, he's not a devotee. But he who says he's a devotee of my devotee, he is a devotee of Lord Krishna. So, and they're very powerful, devotees of the Supreme Lord. They can actually liberate the entire universe. They perform the highest welfare activities because it's not just saving the body. It's like there's so many institutions, so many foundations trying to help give relief for the homeless, to give them home or to give them shelter, or to feed the poor, or building hospitals, or digging well for the local, for a village. These are all auspicious, but it is not the same as if one gives Krishna consciousness. Ultimately, it helps the person to become relieved from the miseries of life and go back home, back to Godhead. So Vaishnava is very, very exemplary. A Vaishnava is great. He is the greatest of them all. There's this one boxer, he says, I am the greatest. But he's a boxer because he's trying to say, I'm the greatest. I can defeat any opponent. But it is not so. He's not the greatest. Ultimately, Krishna is the greatest. But then the devotees of the Lord also are great because they carry the same anxiety. So we're going to read a few slokas translated. There are different quotes from Hari Bhakti Vilas, as we mentioned earlier in the very beginning, right? Devotees of Hari are very rare in the age of Kali. The position of the devotee is more elevated than the position of Lord Brahma and Lord Rudra. It's very rare to find a devotee or to have association of a devotee, Vaishnava. He says that there are three very rare in this world. The Supreme Lord's coming to the material world, it doesn't happen all the time. Just like Lord Krishna's appearance, and same with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is once in one day of Lord Brahma. His one day is quite a lot of years. 4.3 billion years. When we say billion, it's a lot. Million, many are millionaires. But to be part of the billionaire club, even to have 1 billion is quite a lot. But we'll say 4.3 billion years, Lord Krishna will come. That is one day of Lord Brahma. And he lives for 100 years, 311 trillion years. So a devotee is more elevated than the position of Lord Brahma and Lord Rudra. How is that? Lord Brahma being the topmost jiva in this universe, but still to find a devotee is very rare. I was just hearing this morning, Lord Brahma's abode in the spiritual sky is made of gold. The planet where he's staying is made of gold. More elevated than the position. That means that the devotee of the Supreme Lord are dearer or closer. The presence of a devotee at the time of death elevates even the killer of a brahmana to the spiritual sky. This is from Hari Bhakti Vilas, chapter 10, text 86. Because of the rarity of a devotee at the time of death, especially if a brahmana comes or is surrounded by devotees, hearing the holy name of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is very, very auspicious that, yes, because of the purity of the Vaishnava, it also, anyone who will die in his presence can be elevated into the spiritual world. Yes?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
At the time of leaving the body,
Mm-hmm.
a devotee remembering Krishna guarantee that Antakale Chamameva.
Mm-mm.
But if suppose devotee remembers a devotee of Krishna,
Yes.
so which one is more? Because Krishna guarantees that. So little bit.
It's the same thing. If one thinks of Krishna at the time of death, then he'll go back to the spiritual world. If a devotee thinks of his Guru Maharaj or other exalted Vaishnavas, then he'll go back home, back to Godhead also. It's the same. Because the purity is that the essence here. If you think of pure devotional service or pure devotees, or even if you think of the deities, so let's say you're so attached to your deities. Let's say you have deities at home. You go back to Godhead as well. I've seen some devotees there, they have their deities on their chest. In Vrindavan, I witnessed many devotees leaving their bodies as well. And they seem to be like so content and a slight smile on their faces. We had one God brother, and he was serving Guru Maharaj also. But somehow or other, he had some difficulties, so he left the service and he got married, and he went to his native place somewhere in West Bengal, and he left his body, heart attack. But when I saw his picture, it's like smiling, content. If that devotee was remembering at that moment, leaving one's body, how he was serving Guru Maharaj, how his meditation is on the lotus feet of our Guru Maharaj, that carries the same effect that he will go back home, back to Godhead. Because of that thinking of a devotee at the time of death. That's very important. Let's say your wife is a devotee, or your husband is a devotee, why not? If you're thinking of your wife, how nicely he was serving the Lord, and how sincere she is in chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that carries very, very heavy weight for you to be transferred to the spiritual sky. Of course, one should think of a devotee in a favorable way. If one thinks of you're dying and you're thinking of one devotee whom you really hate or you don't like, maybe you'll go back home, back to Godhead also, because you're thinking of a devotee. But it should be in a favorable way. It says here that even the killer of a Brahmana, it's like when we do circumambulate Tulsi Devi, even the killer of a Brahmana, yes, will be saved as well. She's a pure devotee also. If you're thinking of Tulsi Devi at the time of death, you'll go back to Vrindavan for sure. Brinda Devi, Tulsi Devi. Anything that has, this is what it means by supreme absolute truth, Krishna. So anything that has connection or relationship with Lord Krishna is absolute. None different than him. If you're thinking of the temple, you go back home, back to Godhead also. Anything has relationship. If you're thinking of Vrindavan, but this is still very, very rare. If a dog eater, that means chandalas. It's like in the Philippines, we have certain area where they eat dogs. In Asia, many places in Asia, they eat different creatures. Creatures that have eyes. They can be small flies or whatever. But, it says here, if a dog eater becomes a Vaishnava, then he becomes more elevated than a Brahmana. And if a sannyasi is devoid of devotion to Vishnu, then he is considered to be more degraded than a dog eater. We're talking about Mayavadi sannyasis here, so-called sannyasis, especially in India. You've seen them. Anyone who wears lal kapra, considered as Panditji, or Swamiji, or Goswami, even though some of them are not devotees. So, if a dog eater, a very low class, Melechas also are flesh eaters, or animal eaters, or cow eaters. Melechas is like the people in the West are called Melechas. These are cow eaters. But this is also a very low status or position in society, a dog eater. See, the past, he may be a dog eater, but then he became a Vaishnava, then he is more elevated than a Brahmana. That is the position of a devotee. Even at the time of total annihilation, the devotees of Vishnu do not fall down. That is why Sri Hari is known everywhere as infallible, all-pervasive, and inexhaustible. Therefore, there is no need to fear a devotee. And yes, there is no need to fear a devotee. Or for a devotee. A devotee never inflicts pain on anyone. It's very important. Automatically, he is always thinking of the welfare of others. Just like Arjuna, he does not want to fight. He just wants to go to the forest, even though he's a Kshatriya or a warrior, he doesn't want to fight. Being the nature of a saintly person, compassionate. So yes, the devotee of the Lord, they don't have to fear of anything, and they are infallible. That means they don't fall down. A real devotee doesn't fall down. A genuine, or once we've reached that level of being a devotee, a pure devotee, then there is no more falling down. As long as we are not on that level, then there's a tendency. Prabhupada mentions this also. The only difference between you, that means his disciples, and me, Prabhupada says, is that I will never fall down. That is a pure devotee of the Lord. So disciples also should meditate and always be thinking how my spiritual master is a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. Topmost. Well, this is not written in the Shastra, but that is just my realization. One should not think that, oh, my spiritual master is only a Madhyam Bhakta. Then that will be an offense, right? A devotee or a disciple should always think that my Guru Maharaj is in the topmost level of bhakti. Those who worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Hari, are the best of all people, and no one is better than them in the three worlds. Those who worship is only meant for Lord Krishna. There's no such thing as bhaja. We say bhajan. It is meant for Lord Krishna. It is not meant for anybody else. Of course, his representatives, we worship him also. We give due respect. And also, this is not meant, what worship they do for the devatas or the demigods. Usually, this is not, if the person who's worshiping the demigods think that he is God, then the demigod is not so happy. Because their power is still coming from the Supreme Lord. And on the other hand, the worshippers of Govinda, Sri Hari, Shama Sundar, the eternal couple, Sisi Radha, Madhava, they are the best. So you will not find any better association than the pure devotees or the devotees of the Supreme Lord, for that matter, devotees of Vishnu. Those sinless, magnanimous Vaishnavas purify the entire creation. Therefore, they are even better than the place of pilgrimage. It's like these places of pilgrimage are called tirthas. Tirthas, that means they're holy places, especially when wherever the Ganges River flows, that is everywhere surrounding that is holy place, because Ganga touched the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. So there are many holy places in India, and in those holy places, people or devotees go and to get purified. If you take a bath in a holy place like Haridwar, or up in the Himalayas, Gangotri, Yamunotri, all those places, then one gets purified. And sometimes they also, what they do is that they're ready to reside near the place of holy places like this, places of pilgrimage where the Ganga flows. And because in India, they know the purifying effect when one takes bath or when one goes to the holy places. Just by even sprinkling of this holy water on the head or on their body, they get purified. But more, it says here, that more powerful or more purifying are those who are devotees of Lord Krishna. They go to holy places also not to get purified. They go to holy places to purify the place, because usually the sinful people, they will go to the holy places, take bath, and they will dump their karma there. It's like a garbage depot. They'll bring truckloads of their karma and they will just put them there. So how that holy place remains purified, sacred? Because they know that, they will just come there and then they come back to wherever they are, and then maybe after some time they will come back again and take bath to get more purified. So it says that the holy men, the sadhus, Vaishnavas, they will go into these holy places to purify the place. So the place becomes always purified. It remains purified. Kumbh Melas, many times we go to Kumbh Melas, like it's the biggest event, spiritual event on the planet. And without any invitation, everyone is most welcome to come. So we don't go there because in Kumbh Mela, they have this nectar coming from the celestial sky, and that nectar happens to drop. It's subtle. We don't see it with our eyes, and it'll be flowing from the spiritual sky, or not the spiritual sky, it's from the celestial sky, and confluence of Ganga, Yamuna, and Sarasvati. So we don't go there mainly. Prabhupada says also, because he'd been to many of those Kumbh Melas, at least twice. We don't come here to get purified. We come here to tell others about Krishna, to have prasadam distribution, Harinam, Sankirtan, and book distribution. So we go there to spread Krishna consciousness. So yes, the devotees of the Supreme Lord are much, much better, even better than the places of pilgrimage. There's a tirtha and there's a dham. Dhamma means a holy place also, but this is considered as the abode or places where the Supreme Lord performed his pastimes or where he appeared. It's like Kurukshetra is also not Kurukshetra is a tirtha, but also it is a dham. Kurukshetra dham. We call it Kurukshetra dham because Lord Krishna performed his pastimes there with Arjuna. Those who are my devotees are not actually my devotees. We were mentioning this earlier, right? But those who are my devotees of my devotees are real devotees. That is the definition of a devotee. Krishna doesn't really accept directly a person. We have to go through Guru Parampara. We cannot go directly to Krishna. We have to go through via media, his representative. It's like if you want to go see Joe Biden, you cannot go straight and knock on his door. I want to see you. You have to make an appointment, secretary, and see if you also qualified to come and see him. So the devotees, they don't usually say, I am a devotee, but it's better, it's good. We're devotees of Lord Krishna, but we cannot become devotees of Lord Krishna if we are not devotee of another devotee. That's what it means, right? Yeah. One must accept a bona fide spiritual master, a representative of the Supreme Lord. Then he can be accepted as a devotee, formalized, especially at the time of initiation. My devotees who are surrendered unto me and free from attachment and disgust, envy, and pride, sing my glory all the time. They never cause any harm to anyone. They are always engaged in worshiping my devotees and eager to hear about me. They are the ones who always carry me in their hearts. This is a devotee. Actually, a devotee is a living tirtha, a wandering tirtha. Like Prabhupada. The places where he went and visited, they're also considered as a holy place. It's like if you go to 26 2nd Avenue, it's a tirtha. The devotees who go to New York and they don't visit that place where everything started, it's not complete. That means your visit to New York is not complete. Everywhere where he stayed, everywhere he went, similarly, our Guru Maharaj. It's like, that's why many disciples or grihastas say, well, Maharaj, please come to my home. Make my home purified. So once it's purified, you want more purification, fine. And then more and more. But the essence, the spirit of the purity of the pure devotee, he carries wherever he goes. Yes, my devotees who are surrendered unto me and free from attachment and disgust, envy and pride, they're always singing his glories all the time. And because they carry Krishna within their heart, that means, yes, wherever they go, Krishna is present. So now we're going to read here Vaishnava Parad, blasphemy of a Vaishnava. Letter to Gopal Krishna Das Adhikari, April 21, 1970. You are always alert to see whether you are committing some offense. This is a very nice attitude. in rendering service to Lord Krishna and his representative, the spiritual master, we should always maintain this fearful attitude, which means careful attention. This attitude will advance you progressively in Krishna consciousness. And for that matter, we should be careful in our dealing to everyone. To everyone, yes. Not just to the representative, the spiritual master, but to everyone who is serving the Lord. Ultimately, again, it is just a matter of time when we become sincere and trying to really follow the instructions of our Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, the Guru Parampara, to Lord Krishna, then ultimately one will become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. It's like it says also, one should not criticize a person who's taking a bath and saying that he's dirty. But he's taking bath. How can you say he's dirty? He's in the process of cleansing. It's the process of purifying oneself. So it'll be an offense to criticize or find faults in spite of one's efforts in becoming a devotee of the Supreme Lord. So yes, one must be very careful, always be alert. Prabhupada praised our Guru Maharaj, says this is very good. This is a very nice attitude. So yes, we have to be in the same mood as our Guru Maharaj in this way. Try to deal in a very gentlemanly way. Try to behave properly, good attitude towards others. Again, this is from Hari Bhakti Bilas. When one blasphemes a Vaishnava, he loses his religiosity, wealth, fame, and children. Chapter 10, text 310. He practically loses everything. This is how great a Vaishnava is. We've mentioned the greatness of the Vaishnava. So again, it is Lord Krishna who is getting the pain. He loses his religiosity, wealth, fame, and children. If one beats a Vaishnava, that is blasphemes a Vaishnava, shows disrespect to a Vaishnava, gets angry upon a Vaishnava, or does not express joy in seeing a Vaishnava, he goes to hell. Jai Shri Radha Madhava ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Can you repeat this sentence?
Yeah, this is very, very heavy statement.
Yeah.
We should remind this all the time. If one beats a Vaishnava, blasphemes a Vaishnava, shows disrespect to a Vaishnava, gets angry upon a Vaishnava, or does not express joy in seeing a Vaishnava, he goes to hell. This is the highest, not just blaspheming, but beating a Vaishnava. You know, sometimes when there is a fight between two devotees, We ask them to, okay, you offer obeisances to each other. And ask forgiveness, whoever made the mistake. We have many instances like this. Yeah, well, being angry. Yeah, well, angry because of false ego. Angry. There is also you can be angry, but to correct, but that chastisement and being it's like the spiritual master is the duty of the spiritual master to chastise the disciple. Is he angry? No. He may be upset. Upset is lower than angry. Isn't it? That is the beginning of anger. Upset. That means not liking what's going on, but that doesn't mean that, you'll be disregarded. Prabhupada will show anger, but then the next moment, he'll be smiling. Well, for neophyte devotee, one will become angry with another devotee for the rest of his life. He will not talk to that devotee. So anger must be controlled. Usually one becomes angry if one is not able to achieve what he wanted to have. And usually this is in the material platform. One becomes angry because he cannot achieve and he will blame everyone. So, yes, blaspheming a devotee means criticizing a devotee. Criticizing, blaspheming, putting that devotee in a lower platform. Disrespect. Yes?
I just remember once we were together with Guru Maharaj and I got some chastisement from Guru Maharaj.
And
Said,
from
"You are
me?
fortunate."
Oh yeah, did I say that?
Yeah, you said that you are very fortunate because Guru Maharaj is chastising you.
Chastisement from advanced devotees is a show of love. It is the expression of love. It's like the parents, they get angry at a child if the child is not properly behaving. But that doesn't mean that that child is not anymore your son. He's still your son, but you want him to grow up to be Krishna conscious. So this is the duty also, especially in the management. We can get upset and get angry, but just to correct things the proper way. Not a grudge. Grudge, that's another higher than anger. Grudge, is it grudge? Huh? Hatred. Hatred. Yeah.
Angry, but you may not have any hatred or grudge, right?
Yeah.
You'll be angry, but you have hatred and grudge. So, maybe two different things, right? Maybe angry because maybe improving the other devotee helps you
Yeah.
out.
Angry in the material platform is out of false ego. Angry in the spiritual platform means to correct things so that you'll make advancement. That is the difference. So, yeah, one should be very, very careful in this. Otherwise, or here, it does not express joy in seeing a Vaishnava. If you have any experience of this? Many times? This is in the neophyte stage. We should be happy. It says in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that autumn season in Vrindavan, that when the peacock see the rain clouds, it dances with jubilantly, joyfully. So similarly, when we see a devotee of the Supreme Lord, haven't seen him for a long time, big or small devotee, we should be happy, ask how they're faring, how they're doing, and so on. If we do that and the other devotee doesn't reciprocate, let's see. Okay, let's say, you say, hey, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, how are you? Everything okay? And they go, yeah, it's okay, no problem. That's it. Or doesn't want to start a conversation or something, then leave it as it is. He's probably having a problem or something, the devotee that you have greeted. But do not be in the same mood like him. You should be open in such a way. It is, I mean, this is how I felt. I met a devotee like that here. Hare Krishna. So I let him go. Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I let him go. Haven't seen him for like years, maybe 2-3 years or something. That's fine. He must be having an internal problem, or he must be thinking of something else that he's not able to like express or relate to me in a way that I would like to. Hey, I'm happy to see you. Aren't you happy to see me too? Okay, I'm not going to ask him like that, right? So one must be very understanding as well, but we have to do our part.
So Maharaj, that could be a challenge when you are living with devotees.
If you're living with devotees?
Like, when you see devotees on a daily basis, you read with them day in and out, and you are not always joyful seeing them, right?
Well, that's why it says that we should offer obeisances with each other as soon as we see a devotee. Familiarity breeds contempt. Yeah, even, we have to, real association, to have real association, not just saying, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hey, how are you? Fine. And you? I'm fine also. Hare Krishna. That's it. That's the end of the association. But that is not association. We have kirtan or together or read together. Yeah. What to say? How about the devotee, the whole family? If the whole family is a devotee, then we should be also in this way. What do you call this? It's okay. I forgot what I'm going to say. 4 kinds of blasphemy to a devotee. To find fault with a Vaishnava for his apparent low birth. Again, the previous life, there is a saying, every sinners has a future and every saint has a past, right? So, which means that we should not try, it's like Prabhupada was asking something, or his disciple is asking about something which is very personal to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would say that you don't need to know. It's like, it's none of our business. So what is more important is what is the position of the devotee at the moment. If we try to open up and search database, what was he before? It's like trying to find out the opening like a Pandora's box or something. It's irrelevant now. Whether, of course, we can say I'm from Philippines, but then after that, nothing else. If you say, oh, I'm from Gujarat, yes, fine, that's it. Or from Nepal, fine, that's it. But to go deeper and deeper, how was he when he was in elementary school, Is he a quarrelsome boy or something like that? That is besides the point. So, low birth, especially if one took birth in a Chandala family, Melecha family, that is irrelevant. So don't find fault with this. To blaspheme him from his previous faults. Again, we are imperfect. Conditioned soul means, yes, we have a tendency to cheat, we have a tendency to commit mistakes, we have a tendency to be illusioned, and our senses are imperfect. So, we always commit mistakes, but a genuine devotee tried his best not to repeat the same mistakes. And even if we commit the same mistakes again and again, just try to make it up and always try not to commit again next time. So if somehow or other, if we see some devotees' faults, we have to be careful. This is part of being a conditioned soul. And not try to open up again and again. Our movement is such a way that we are here to be reformed, to always keep on improving. So faults is there because of our being conditioned soul. So try not to criticize in that way. To blaspheme him for his accidental fault. Again, this is accidental fault because of our previous samskars or impressions in our mind or whatever life that we had in the past. Because still it's not purified yet, that we may commit the same mistake that we had because from before. It should not be scrutinized and try to criticize that devotee for that accidental fault. Only Krishna and Guru can judge us. We cannot judge anyone. To blaspheme him for the faults that are almost rectified. Again, this is like almost the same. We're trying our best to improve, but still, in spite of that, we may have some shortcomings. We may have some difficulties to improve, but if you see someone is sincere and trying one's best to make improvements from whatever faults or shortcomings that one may have, we should try to avoid blaspheming or criticizing this devotee. You understand? Oh, look at that devotee. His dhoti is like, that is irrelevant. Look, he doesn't shave his hair or whatever. No, that's personal thing. If he lives in the mandir or in the temple in ashram, then so. In any case, don't blaspheme, don't criticize Vaishnavas with these four types of blasphemy. This is from Harinam Chintamani. This is the conversation between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur. You have question?
A lot of questions, so I think.
Okay, you can question. I have like 2 more sentences here. I'll open up for question. What to do if one commits a Vaishnava parad? Okay, we commit Vaishnava parad. So how to counteract this? The best way is that he must approach the devotee whom he offended. For myself, I know if I offend one devotee, I can feel it. There is some kind of heaviness in my heart. And it happened to me a few times. Especially words, we have to be very careful in what we say. Because usually what we say, or what we said, starts from the mind. Whatever is in our mind, it comes out. It is being expressed through words. So right from the before we say, we should correct our thoughts first. And I remember a few times in Vrindavan, even early in the morning, I said something wrong. And I felt really bad. I felt heaviness in my heart. So just before Guru Puja, I have to approach him. Immediately. Don't let it go for long or be shy. Be embarrassed. If one commits mistakes, a devotee accepts his mistakes. And after that, I says, Prabhuji, I'm very sorry. I'm really sorry. I knew I have committed some offense and I said something which must have hurt you. So please forgive me. And the devotee will say, no. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Immediately I can feel my heart is like become light. So we should be very, very sensitive in this way. A devotee who always committing offenses, Vaishnava parad, criticizing all the time, blaspheming, for him he will not feel this heaviness in the heart. For him this is normal. Hey, I am the most advanced here, so I can criticize everybody. I can blaspheme everyone. So no. Instead of criticizing, blaspheming, try to find good points. Praise the devotee. Praise the devotee. Because everyone, irregardless of how a neophyte, a devotee is, he must have at least one good quality. That one good quality you try to fan that spark. Instead of looking the 99% of mistakes, just look at that 1%. Then one will become, will be able to avoid Vaishnava parad. If by chance one commits Vaishnava parad, then he must be forgiveness. He must be forgiven. You should ask forgiveness from the Vaishnava and holding his feet. This is a very powerful gesture. If one commits an aparad, try to. But sometimes devotees play, even if there is no aparad, they will touch each other's feet. And because the Vaishnava is very merciful, so he will immediately embrace him and forgive him for all of his offenses. Our business is that we should appreciate the value of other devotees. Don't look at the faults. This morning, it's like a honeybee or a swan. Nobody should criticize anyone. And last letter, then I can open for question. Oh, that was a letter to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. This is actually a devotee's business, that everyone should appreciate the value of other devotees. Everyone has a value in Krishna consciousness. Everybody. Nobody should criticize anyone. And then lastly, from the Hari Bhakti Vilas, now that you have come to my house today, I have become glorified. My life has become completely successful. To be able to see a Vaishnava is as rare as the good fortune of seeing Sri Hari. I must have acquired immense piety, huge as the Meru mountain. That's why I got to see a great Vaishnava like you. Praising, but not in an artificial way. Flattering, or that is another thing. You know, in the material world, they flatter each other because they want something from each other. Flattering. It's not the same as praising. Flatter means you want something from that other person, right? But praising means because you are due for the words that I'm going to say, you're actually qualified. So we should do like that. It says that even if your enemy comes to your home, he should not be treated like as an enemy. Because there is also, it says that anyone who comes to your home is considered to be as Narayan has come to your home, visiting you. So the person, if that is your enemy and he comes to your place, you should not treat him as an enemy. Treat him as, as a guest, a visitor. And because Paramatma is there, then you accept him as Paramatma is coming. Yes? Atiti?
Devo Bhava.
Devo Bhava.
It's a guest.
Yes, the guest.
Whoever guest is visiting you, treat him like a god.
Yes.
It's a Sanskrit.
It's a Sanskrit, okay. Any questions? I don't see any hands.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, we go that way again.
So, when we were discussing about blasphemy,
Do you have a mic? Get the mic. Oh, hold on.
it is front.
Right here. I can see from here. I can feel from here. This one?
Yes,
There you go.
Hare Krishna. So when we were discussing about blasphemy and different ways of treating, I witnessed sometimes devotees, and this is between another devotee and referring to Guru Maharaj, my poor Guru Maharaj.
My?
Poor Guru Maharaj.
Poor?
Yeah. So someone expressing about Guru Maharaj is not there, but just referring Guru Maharaj, oh, my poor Guru Maharaj.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt offended myself, and I tried to correct, and the devotee did not even understand. So what is the proper etiquette there? Because another event, sometimes I notice that devotees treating Guru Maharaj as like their personal friend, buddy. And if two God brothers meeting and if they are treating them buddies, that's fine. But disciple is treating Guru Maharaj as their buddy. They may be like similar age, but so how to
One
understand?
should not be familiar. He is our well-wisher. The spiritual master is our friend, but he is also our father. But the father-like figure, we should put in the forefront. A father also is a friend to the child. So we must be careful if someone says like this, and if you have the qualification to correct him, to say something to him. Or you can point this out to others who are seniors more than that person, then that could be corrected. Don't try, if you are not having that relationship, don't try to do it yourself, but then it may have a negative consequence. Instead of accepting your suggestion, then he will treat you like you are an enemy. So the proper way is that you approach a more advanced or more the one who's having relationship with the devotee also, a closer relationship. Then they will be able to understand each other. There is an etiquette in correction also. That is another thing. Any other points? Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes?
Thank you.
Any points there, Ram Hanuman Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So, a lot of thoughts in my mind actually, but one thing is, like, let's suppose a Vaishnava or devotee does something to you. They do some kind of an action which is you didn't like that kind of action that devotee did. Unpleasant, or I mean, a small example is one devotee just one day picked up the counter and said, "Oh, how many rounds you did?" Right? Like something like that, or it can be that small, or it can be big also. So let's suppose I'm just giving an example. So if I share that with another devotee and said, "This devotee did this to me," is that a blasphemy? Is that like sharing with another devotee what other devotees' actions have been, or their repeated actions? Is that a blasphemy of that devotee?
If you relate that incident, whatever that may be, in a negative way,
so how
then it could be considered as like. But if you should be also understanding. He may be just joking. But we must be careful also when we joke, when we make jokes. Sometimes I've seen devotees, they're joking with each other. They ended up fighting with each other. Isn't it? They're good friends.
Yeah, I was actually, my wife told me something recently. She heard that we should not joke with senior devotees at all. Is that like...
There should be some gravity. When it's time for joking, you can joke. When it's time for serious, then Prabhupada also, when he gives classes, he tells humorous jokes, right? But you don't joke with him. You don't. But it's like there may be some having Jai Sri Radha Madhava ki Jai, Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki Jai, Sri Gaurnitai ki Jai, Sri Prabhupada ki Jai. So take it lightly, and then you can test also. You can joke with him also, right?
Yes.
And see what his reaction. There is what you call bad joke. It's a joke, but it's bad. And the other person whom your intention may not be bad, but he will take it as a bad joke. You have to be careful. Again, be sensitive. Be sensitive. It's like these boys, these devotees, who are, like doing service here. They joke with each other, but they don't take it seriously. And it is not an offense. It's like we went swimming yesterday, and they were joking with each other. Now, if others will hear, oh, this is not good, but amongst themselves, they don't consider it as very serious. So, yes, if you tell if you tell someone of others' attitude to you, he may not understand. So it depends on how you perceive why he did that to you. You can joke with him. He says, yes, I chanted 192 rounds already or something. Like Haridas Thakur, right? Let's see how he's replying to you.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. I think the word that always tricks me is the blaspheme. Like, it's a very strong word.
Criticizing and blaspheming is the same thing.
So once actually Mahatma Prabhu was telling that like blaspheme means hatred and envy. He said if you really hate someone or really have envy for someone, then you're really blaspheming. And in a lot of cases, they're in devoted relationships, things happen, you share with others, and a lot of things happen, small things, big things. And then you share with each other. You could be sharing with your wife or your husband, and talking about things, but that's not really, that shouldn't fall into blasphemy, right? Because you have to share your heart also with someone, and explain what happened.
But if you didn't like what he did, better not to repeat it to another person.
Okay.
Because if that person gets implicated also, right? To hear blasphemy, to hear criticism of others is also part of the blasphemy of that other devotee.
So how to strike the balance, Maharaj? Like sometimes it's difficult to say, like when you talk about humility, for example.
Be tolerant. A devotee, he is not on the bodily platform. This blasphemy, this criticizing is in the bodily platform only. You cannot criticize the soul.
So if we just look at that part, like being a soul and not a body, if you just look at that concept, that means we should ignore everything, pretty much, to some extent.
Ignore, or at the same time, you just let it go. Yeah.
Ignore or let it.
Ignore, let it go. And you can also think that, oh, I think I am due to get that kind of treatment from the other person due to my past.
My past karma.
To my past karma. Yeah. There's always going to be envious people around. There's no way. It doesn't matter how good you are trying to do. There's always going to be someone who will be envious. Ignore them. Let it pass, because you have a higher understanding. You have higher knowledge. If you mind everyone who's trying to criticize, then you will become like them also.
Yeah, you cannot please everyone.
Huh?
You cannot please
No,
everyone.
you cannot please everyone. We're here to please Prabhupada, our spiritual master, Hari, Sri Hari, Lord Krishna, and the Vaishnavas. Now, if one is not pleased with what we're doing, we still keep going. It's not that important.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Maharaj, I have tons of questions. First, Maharaj, I think you had a very valid point that, I have a question actually, it's a very strange question. that, sometimes when you say something or do blasphemy, some devotee, you feel inside hurt or something. But some other devotees, you don't feel hurt when you say something.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, is that because the one devotee is on a higher platform, other devotees?
Yeah, it depends on one's spiritual advancement. The more you advance, the more you become sensitive in the feelings of others. The person who is neophyte, he doesn't care with anyone's feelings. He just do whatever he likes to do. And because he's a neophyte, he doesn't see others, actually. Well, for the one, as what Prabhupada says, we should come to at least to a madhyam platform. So in this way, you can distinguish who's a demon, who's an envious, who are innocents, who are devotees. Come to the madhyam platform of bhakti. You see, others, if they don't have any feelings, that means they're offensive. Offensive in many ways. Many ways. As we've mentioned earlier, there is nama aparad, seva aparad, dhamma aparad, jiva aparad, especially Vaishnava aparad. Because he became like immune to that now. He's immune, or no immunity at all. It's like his heart is fully contaminated. That he doesn't have that feelings now.
So if you find fault in that person who's fully contaminated,
Well, you don't find fault on him. Why do you have to find fault on him?
like management positions, you find that some person doesn't follow.
Well, then you try. If you're an authority, you try to correct him.
Okay.
You try to correct him in a nicer way, in a very palatable way, and because of your purity also, then he'll be able to understand what you're saying. He may not understand others if the others explain to him his position, but no, there is also what do you call this? Some kind of, if that person is creating problems, there must be some remedial, like say he can be suspended. He can be under probation, suspended. Then if he's not able to change, better tell him to go. For his own benefit. Prabhupada told that on one or two occasions to his disciples, you better go. Because we don't want to see your morose face every day. You're supposed to be happy, but why? If you see a devotee being morose, there may be some problems, but then at the same time, he's not executing bhakti properly. So you must be having a very broad-minded, you should be broad-minded, you should be like accommodating, understanding, a higher level of understanding, a higher level of compassion, a higher level of tolerance.
You had said one thing was we should avoid criticizing devotees whose faults are almost correctable. So most of the faults which I, as a management, see or anything else they're almost correctable. So that means I should not chastise or find fault to any end.
For me, having a post as a manager also, I will, you have to be, again, you have to be very, very expert into this. Because you may break that person.
Yes.
You don't want to do that.
Yes.
You want to raise him up slowly. It depends on the situation. Sometimes I just let it go. But then I know one day there'll be a time that I'm gonna tell this devotee that what you're doing is wrong. I don't correct immediately. Prabhupada, the same thing. He's not correcting immediately. Sometimes he will correct immediately. There is this one devotee, he doesn't want to offer obeisances to Prabhupada. He let him do it many times. And then he asked him, oh, you are not offering obeisances to the spiritual master? And everyone is offering obeisances? So he asked, why? And he says, well, I don't feel inside to offer obeisances. So why should I do it? And Prabhupada says, that's fine. But if you do it physically, eventually you will feel it also inside. So he's expert. Because he knows, especially neophytes, new beginners, new and beginners, new, the same thing, new or a beginner, we have to be very careful dealing with them. What about those who have been for many years? How do you deal with them then? Committing the same, let's say, accept them as they are. Just accept them as long as they're not obviously affecting many devotees. But as soon as many devotees are being affected, again, as an authority, you have to tell him, I'm sorry, Prabhu. This should not happen. I don't want this. You can tell, I don't want this to happen here. Because you're in charge. If you let it go, you'll get karma from what they're doing. You share the karma. 1/6. Everything that's going on in the temple, you get 1/6 of it. Either it is good or it is not good. Both ways. Same with the President of the United States. So many sinful activities going on in US of A. He'll get karma from that. That's why he's supposed to be very Krishna conscious. And it is a duty to have everyone to become Krishna conscious. Otherwise, they're not considered to be there. They should not be there. But what to do is Kali Yuga. So, is that okay? Yes, perfect, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. How can we differentiate between regular devotee and the real devotees?
How can you differentiate
Yeah.
a real devotee?
And the regular devotee. I mean, devotee and the real devotees.
You don't differentiate. You just think everyone is a devotee.
No, but then you say that real devotees.
You don't say he's a devotee. No. Everyone is a devotee at different levels. Anyone who enters the temple is a devotee. Everyone out there is a devotee also. But they're covered up. They don't know that they're a devotee. That they don't know that their duty is to serve Krishna. So as soon as you discriminate, he's low devotee, then you commit an aparad. You'll find faults in that person who is, you think that he's not a devotee. Don't be in that mood. But you should read from Prabhupada's books, and you can tell who is an advanced devotee, who is a neophyte devotee, who is a madhyam devotee, and then you relate to him accordingly. Do you understand? To think that he's not a devotee, no, the whole world, everyone is a devotee, but they're covered up.
What about a Vaishnava?
Huh?
A Vaishnava will be different, right? Not everybody is a Vaishnava outside in a way.
A Vaishnava, that means, let's say, a Mayavadi.
No, a Vaishnava, like you're not saying all offenses going to Vaishnava. So you're saying everyone is a covered devotee, that means everyone is a Vaishnava, or
Everyone is a devotee. We're all children of Krishna.
So the Vaishnava is on a devotee category?
But then again, as soon as one starts Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then his journey going back to Godhead starts. Then you treat him in a different way. You treat a person who is initiated is different. You offer obeisances to him. Now, you don't offer obeisances to a person walking in the boardwalk in Baltimore. You don't go to West Baltimore and, offer obeisances to all of those who are like intoxicated and, homeless. No. There's a proper way of how to deal with them, each and every one, accordingly. But why do you have to say he's a devotee, he's non-devotee? Why do you have to discriminate? Best is that you read Prabhupada's books, and it says that anyone who took initiation, you offer respects to them. Offer obeisances to them. But that doesn't mean we don't respect. If they're not initiated, we should not respect them. Respect must be there all the time. So we should not weigh things. Oh, he's a devotee. He's not a devotee. Everyone is a devotee. Fine. This is the mentality of a pure devotee. I'm talking about pure devotee here. So at least be in the Madhyam platform. A neophyte, he cannot distinguish. When he comes to the temple, he just sees the Lord and himself. A Madhyam devotee, he comes to the temple, he sees those who are advanced, those who are neophyte, those who are on the same platform as he is. So he treats them in a different way. He serves those who are more advanced than him. He asks questions. He is friendly to those who are equal with him, and he shows compassion to those who are less than him. Do you follow? You follow?
Yeah.
So don't be in that mentality. Everyone who comes here is a devotee, whether he is criticizer or he's still a devotee. But he is covered up.
Even if he's not initiated?
Huh?
Even if he's not initiated?
He is still a devotee. If you come here, are you initiated? No. You are a devotee for me because you are here. Anyone who chants Hare Krishna, he's a devotee. Even though he commits so many nama aparad, offensive chanting, he's still a devotee. Okay? But you treat differently in a different ways. Yes?
Maharaj, thank you for the lecture. Really nice lecture. Maharaj, I heard a couple of times in some lectures that if you commit offense to a normal person who is not actually become a devotee or inclined towards, bhakti or just like a regular person, and later on when he becomes a devotee, you get that offense. Is that true? So if I commit an offense to a person who has not become a devotee yet, he doesn't know Krishna consciousness or the devotees, but let's say 5 years after he becomes a devotee, do I get offense?
Then you can tell him that before I committed these offenses to you, please forgive me. But even as soon as you have noticed that you committed an offense, even if it's not initiated, still immediately ask forgiveness, because he is jiva. You commit jiva aparad. Then when he becomes a devotee, then that is Vaishnava aparad. So even in our dealings outside, we have to be careful.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Maharaj, you mentioned the two words, Tirtha and Dham.
Tirtha and Dham, yes.
Is there any difference between the
Yeah.
two, or they are used
No,
interchangeably?
we already mentioned Tirtha is a holy place. Dham is a holy place, but Tirtha is not necessarily a Dham. Dhamma means abode of Lord Krishna or his incarnations, like Ayodhya Dham, Dwarka Dham. It is not a Tirtha. It is a Tirtha. It's a holy place, but much more potent than a holy place. A Tirtha. Prayag, Raj. That is a Tirtha. Wherever the Ganges flows, that is a Tirtha because of Ganga. Wherever the devotee goes, that becomes a Tirtha, not necessarily Dham. You see the difference now?
So you mentioned like New York, when we go
It
to
is
New
a
York.
Tirtha.
Tirtha, not Dham.
No, the place in 26 Second Avenue where Prabhupada had walked or stepped, put his feet, walked in that area, that is a Tirtha. So it should remain sacred. Let's just say Prabhupada stayed, let's say in a house of a grihasta. That is a Tirtha because Prabhupada was there. But it's not a Dham. Dham is for the Supreme Lord, where he took birth or he performed his lila. Ujjain is a Dham also, right? Prabhupada, he wanted to, League of Devotees, isn't it? First time he wanted to do it there? Jhansi, over Jhansi. That is a Tirtha. But Ujjain is where also they studied in the Gurukul, right? Sandipani Muni. So that is a Dham. But not the whole New York is a Tirtha. That place, especially in 26 Second Avenue. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Any questions more or comments? The mic is there now.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribol.
I have one question. When you don't know, or unknowingly you made an offense, but when you do some service, that time you realization that something is wrong that you did it, or probably it's offenses to a deities or offenses to a devotees. We don't know. So how to?
This is
forgive
why
my
one
past
has to be very, very careful in dealings with devotees. If you are careful, you are not here, I think, when I read the letter. You just now come?
No.
So I already explained, one must be careful.
Guru, not, I heard that, but not like you don't know you're probably you doesn't mean it when you are telling with other devotee, but that devotee took an offense.
It's not an offense.
Okay.
It is not an offense because your intention is not there. You're not there to blaspheme the devotee or criticize the devotee. You may be there to help that devotee. But then if he takes it that, hey, I know what I'm doing. Fine, leave him alone. Give respect to that devotee. Respect must be always there. If somehow the devotee takes it in a wrong way, that is not your fault. Because that devotee's advancement is low. He's not understanding.
And I have another question also. There is a question with the Prabhu when we are trying to, we know some devotees that we are trying to ignore their association.
Ignore?
Ignore means avoid their, so.
Avoid?
Because if you know that if I am I'm associating more, then probably I'll make an offenses. So that's why you avoid some association. So is there any aparadh or?
No, you're just being careful.
So there is one point that when you meet two devotees, you should be
joyful, yes.
Joyful, but we are from inside we are ignoring. So how can we avoiding their?
You cannot avoid devotees. You just be in a distance. Don't take their association if you know that they are not on the level that what you have read from Prabhupada's books. You read Nectar of Devotion, you'll find out who's a devotee. You'll read Bhagavad Gita, you'll find out who's a devotee. But very accommodating at the same time. Try to understand their position. If you think that devotee will not help me, and that devotee will put me in is a bad, let's say, bad association. Respect must be there as well, but not in a sense that you are close to that devotee. Always respect everyone. Paramatma is there in everyone's heart. We have to understand that the coverings of each and every one of us are in different layers. So be accommodating, at the same time be careful. This is, again, the more you advance, the more you know how to deal with each and every one. You understand?
Yes.
That's why we have to read. Hear. Chant. How are we going to learn all of these things? Jai. It's like Banka Bihari here. I've been sitting here for the last almost 2 hours. Many times I've seen going back and forth here, back and forth. My request to you, and this is Guru Maharaj's request also, is we have to read. Prabhupada's criticism to his disciples is that we are not reading enough. Knowledge will give you power to understand things the way things should be done. There is, the materials, they have a saying, what? Ignorance is bliss. No. Here, ignorance, you'll commit aparad. That is not blissful. One will go to hell. We don't want to go to hell, do we? So, knowledge is very important. Cultivate one's knowledge, okay? Anything else from the Mataji's side? They have understood everything. Very good. Any question? Yes? It is a tirtha. This is a tirtha. The whole place is a tirtha. Wherever the Lord is being worshipped, this is also a tirtha. But due to circumstances, sometimes places where Srila Prabhupada have walked through, they've been demolished because of adjustment of the temple, how it should be. The whole place is a tirtha. But it would be best to preserve those places the way it was when Prabhupada came. It's like 26nd Avenue. Yeah, they kind of like restored the whole place. No change. Now, if you break that and, demolish and have it's still a tirtha, but then it's not the same vibration. When you go to these places where Prabhupada walked and stayed, you have a different spiritual vibration there. Is that right? You go to Prabhupada's house in Vrindavan. Oh. And as soon as you step out, it's different. It's a different feelings. In Vrindavan, there are two places like that. In Goshala, you go to Goshala, our Goshala, the same. As soon as you step out of Goshala, it's not the same anymore. It's still in Vrindavan, part of Vrindavan. And Prabhupada's house, quarters, in Krishna Balaram Mandir, is the same compound, but if you go to the temple room, it's a different kind of vibration also. Spiritual energy is there, is different. Wherever Guru Maharaj stayed is worshipable also. Like Guru Maharaj staying upstairs, that place is so sacred. And even if Guru Maharaj is not there, our thoughts should be, Guru Maharaj is here. And we should respect. Every tadiya, all the things that Guru Maharaj used is also as worshipable. It's like everything that we offer to the Lord, that we use for the Lord's service, is also none different than the Lord. So all these different paraphernalias that Guru Maharaj used, Prabhupada's. You go to Prabhupada's house in Vrindavan, we have a mini museum there, right? Many things that he used. Yeah. Anything else?
Maharaj, you mentioned Goshala has different vibrations. Why?
Because of the cows. They're Krishna Balaram cows. I stayed there for 6 years. And every day, the first thing I've seen, darshan, are the cows. Sometimes I even witnessed a mother cow giving birth to a calf early in the morning. Very auspicious. A different life air is there. Because the cows, they give you life. You go to New Vrindavan, they have a lot of cows there also. It's a different. And our cows is different than if you go to so many cows in Vrindavan also. But I find it different, special, our Goshala. Because Prabhupada also founded that Goshala. Anything else? Suddenly, every one of you came. We've been here for 2 hours. It's good. It's good, though. If you don't have any other questions or comments, we will finish our mini seminar on Vaishnava etiquette. Is that okay? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.